Honourable Nikki Kay.
Speaker, I'm very pleased to speak in this debate. I think I share with many members in this House the concern about the PISA results. And the first thing that I want to say is every week I visit schools, I meet parents, I meet teachers, I meet principals, I meet people who are absolutely passionate about our education system. But I think it is really important that when we enter this debate that we actually analyse what PISA is telling us. And there are a number of very clear things coming through from this report. But the first thing that I want to address is we have had a number of things raised by the opposition that are just not true. The first thing that we heard from Labour was that this was actually because National had underinvested in our education system. Well, this is not true. We're spending $9.7 billion, the highest ever investment in vote education, with year-on-year increases. 40% increase in vote education since 2007. We're investing 20% of all public expenditure in education, which is the second highest in the OECD. The second thing that we heard from Mr Hipkins was that this was actually all of our fault. Well, actually, when you look at the PISA results, the reality is these children came through between 2003 and 2012. And what we need to do in this House is actually stop the blame game and accept this is a serious issue, it needs proper analysis, and accept it is an education system issue, and all members of the House need to bandy together to actually look at how we address some of these issues. The third thing we heard was actually that the reason for these PISA results was because of national standards. And I know that we've just heard from Tracy Martin on that, but actually that is factually untrue. National standards came in 2010. The reality is the children in this cohort could not benefit from the targeting of national standards, knowing where children needed to be lifted, because the reality is national standards were not properly implemented through that period. They came in 2010, and children could not have been targeted by that 2012 period. The next thing that we heard is actually that this is because of somehow charter schools and investment in private education. Again, I think many New Zealanders listening to this debate would realise that is ridiculous. So now that we actually get to the point where we can actually say what is going on here, I think that the most important thing that we need to remember is that for the last decade there has been a group of voices in this country that have said we need change, right? And then there have been a group of other voices who have said no, we need no change. And it has been our government and our party who have been consistent that actually the only way that we can ensure that every child gets the kind of opportunities that we want for every New Zealander is to have change. And that is why we are unashamedly proud of national standards. Because the biggest thing that I say to many audiences, to many teachers and principals and parents when I get out in the community, is how can we possibly help those children if we don't know where they are and we don't know where we can help them? And it's so simple. And the reality is that now we do know where those children are and we are putting in resource to help them. The second thing that we have really focused on is recognising that we do need to ensure that we raise the value of the teaching profession. And that is about professional development. And we did announce a review this week, and that's going to be very important in terms of raising the value of the profession and raising quality teaching. The next thing that we have done is we've been really clear. The reform of the Teachers' Council is incredibly important to ensure that the teaching profession as well have greater responsibility and a greater role in terms of lifting standards. Mr. Speaker, the other thing that PISA shows, which I think is really interesting, I think there has been traditionally a problem in New Zealand in terms of truancy and school leavers. And what is great is that more kids are staying at school. Early leaving exemptions fell to 313 last year from a peak of more than 4,187 applications in 2005. That's a 93% decrease under National. That is incredibly significant, because how can we possibly improve our education system and raise opportunities for young people if they're not actually at school? So I think there are some quite amazing results here in terms of areas like school leavers. There are some other very positive things happening in terms of national standards and professional development, but all people in this House need to realise that this is serious, and the only way that we can really do service to the rest of New Zealand is to take responsibility and make change.
I call the honourable member